to this Stockbox interview. Joining me on Stockbox today is Paul Johnson, the CEO of Power Metal Resources. Hi there, Paul. How are you?
Hello, Mark. I'm fine. How are you doing?
Yes, very good. Thank you, Paul. Very good. So today, obviously, I noticed that you have released a new presentation. It looks very modern, very clean, very up to date. So what is the rationale behind this? Are you doing a bit of a rebrand?
Yeah, we are, or we have. We've, as we grew the business to a certain size and also to a certain working capital position, we wanted to expand our in-house capabilities. And, at first, when you start these junior companies, you start with a very small team and you almost have to do everything yourself with the help of some external advisors. But we have an ambition to be a mid-tier organization, a very large organization. So, at some point you have to move from just being your corner shop explorer business mentality to being more corporate and more advanced. And so now we have in the team an investor relations manager who's done an incredible job on the presentation. Mm-hmm. We have an exploration manager in the business that's working on the technical geological side of our projects. We have additional operational support, including with regard to the spin-outs that we're working on. So going back to the presentation, this is the work of our new investor relations manager, who's been incredible. And has created with us this new brand and this new presentation. And it was interesting, actually. Yesterday, I saw someone comment about there's so much going on, it's difficult to keep up with the business, which I fully understand. I'm not apologizing for there being so much going on. If we're going to build a very large company, there has to be this level of immense activity happening. But the presentation today really, I think, will help investors to get a sense of where we are overall. If nothing else, Mark, it's got a contents page on page 2, which I think is a bit of a new thing. You don't often see that. Mm-hmm. And people can see on page 2 the immense range and depth of our activities, which is a positive, I think, for the investor.
Okay, yes, it does look like a very nice presentation, very succinct. And I noticed some comments that are going around, people saying that it is very nice. They like the fact that the communication from the company is regular and you're connecting with investors. That is very important to you, isn't it? To make sure you're connecting to everyone, really.
It's heart and soul, really, for me, because when I started investing or focusing on the mineral space, I didn't have a big portfolio. And I needed at the time, this was 12 years ago, I needed to build an awful lot of capital to basically get my life back on track and to, build a sense of financial strength and some direction. The natural resource sector was a savior for me. And I started out as an investor with small amounts invested in companies I felt could deliver the capital growth that I needed. Now, fortunately for me, that did work out. And it took a lot of time and effort as an investor to build the portfolio. But along the way, over the last, 12, 13 years, I picked up the things that made a difference to the smaller investor, because I was one of them. The things that made a difference to me were management engagement, willing to pick up the phone and discuss the business. Were also management investment. So if you've got shares as the managing director or CEO in a company, and you've got a material amount of shares, not just a little bit to show willing, a proper holding, then you are automatically switched on with the shareholders. And then if you have, pay for the senior team that's reasonable and focused on incentivized performance, so if you can drive the share price higher and deliver for shareholders, you get the benefit and options in relation to that. And, so that if you really perform and the share price rises, you get that financial return. So all these things were important to me. But the very, the key thing overall was that companies in the public arena have to communicate with the shareholder base. As an investor, what I didn't like is when a company went quiet for a month or 2 months and said nothing. They may have been working hard in the background, but I needed to see openly on display what they were doing. And that's why I do this. That's why I do the level of announcements, the flow of announcements. One, because we are highly proactive in making material developments almost all the time. But secondly, because I think the shareholder base out there, and I'm not focused on the major institutions and the very high net worth individuals who know how to take care of themselves. I'm focused on your, dare I say it, Gladys in Glasgow, Bill in Birmingham, investors who are risking a lot by placing money into my company, and they deserve attention.
I noticed in the presentation as well, Paul, you've got this new tagline. It's explore, crystallize. So what do you mean by that? And what are the big crystallizing values that Pow could deliver, do you think?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I did that actually. That's I look at that with a great sense of pride. I didn't do much else in terms of the branding because that was done very capably by our new IR manager. But I wanted to make the statement that obviously our business is an exploration focused business. We are highly active and we're doing some big stuff. We're going after, in many cases, district scale opportunities. So Kalahari Copper Belt, the Malopal Farms Complex project, the Haneti project, the Australian goldfields. These are really big areas. And you look at even in the DRC this week, where we announced that 25-year production license, and some great results coming out of the geophysics work and the moving towards drill targeting on that 7-kilometer copper cobalt anomaly. It's really big stuff. So we're exploration, but we're focused on big stuff and we're cracking on with it. We're not just fiddling and doing a few samples and then printing the results, hoping it boosts the share price. We're actually doing fundamental things that can dramatically transform our business and the lives of the shareholders with big discoveries, which is what we're going for. So that's the first bit. But then the second bit is, I don't want to be here in running this business, taking my salary check for 15 years like some of the companies you see out there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be delivering major value events that dramatically transform my life as a shareholder and the other shareholders in the business. So to do that, you have to have an eye on crystallization. You have to think, okay, how do I get value from this business? And ultimately, I suppose the uber value is you sell the business at a great valuation at some point in the future. And I've been close to that kind of thing before, because when we found the T3 discovery with Metal Tiger then, after I left, it has to be said, sold their position in the T3 project or part of that package back into MOD Resources. And then MOD was bought out by Sandfire. So there are scenarios where you can sell the whole lot. But there are other things along the way you can do. And Power has a model now of not just exploration, but also taking some of its projects and putting them into their own vehicles, listing them on the stock markets, and then crystallizing that value by swapping a project interest for something which is readily tradable, shares in listed vehicles. And that builds the working capital of the business, makes us stronger, and starts the crystallization process quite early on. So we actually have, I think, now 5 of our interests moving into that or on that IPO pathway. And as those start to drop out, and I know people won't believe it till they see it, that people need to see the first 1 or 2 IPOs happen, and then they'll go, oh, okay. And then particularly as they start to see real value, lumps of millions going onto the balance sheet, they'll start to think, oh, okay, yeah, we get this model now, spin out, strengthening the business, building the company alongside the exploration. So, yeah, that's the crystallization, really. So explore, district scale, go and find major discoveries. That's my internal kind of motto. And then crystallize, get value out along the way, build our balance sheet, think about shareholder distributions, and then ultimately let's find a big corporate value event for everyone, if we can, that sees, the discovery value, if we're fortunate to make discoveries, properly reflected in a transactional outcome for the business.
Okay, and a final thought then, Paul. There's a lot going on in power. We speak a fair bit across all the different projects, and people would argue it's very good value now, the current market cap of the company. Now the market is a little bit soft at the moment. Maybe the summer kind of lull, if you like, has maybe come early. Not sure, but you've got a lot going on. You mentioned there you've got 5 IPOs. How do you plan to bring the recognition to POW and the valuation of the company?
Yeah, we live in a cyclical world on the stock market generally, but particularly in the junior resource space. I think if company management and shareholders worry about that cyclicity, as it's called, that can drive you mad. Now, I look at my company and I will generally stay away from saying, oh, it's undervalued, or, because of course there might come a point where I go, oh, it's overvalued, and I don't want to talk about it. So I've got to be balanced and sensible and push on every day in the same way. But I think these pullback phases that you get in the market are quite good opportunities for people to take stock of their existing portfolio. Take a look at the companies they're invested in and say, you know what? Out of those companies I have in that portfolio, some of them I think are now demonstrating signs of real performance. And although the market valuation might be a bit static or it might have pulled back a bit, I think as the market gets a little bit of oomph about it and starts to strengthen, that will be a company that goes up a lot. And perhaps there are other companies that are not performing and, there haven't been announcements, there hasn't been business progress. You might be worried about finance and all these different things. And the pullbacks do present you a bit of an opportunity to do a reshuffle. Now, I can honestly say, and I am biased, Mark, big time. I can honestly say as a private investor, and I've done this for quite some time, and I've been quite good at it on the whole, in terms of, building a portfolio of natural resource investments. My favorite company to invest in as a private investor is POW. And it's the same today as it was a year ago and 2 years ago. I believe in this company and it helps that I run it. I know what we do work-wise. I know the approach that we take towards the business. I know what our strategy is. I have a great deal of confidence in it. And my job is to take that personal confidence and then get it out into market so that more people look at this business. And the presentation today, of course, will help. Look at this business and say that is an investable proposition. And as we do that, our market valuation will probably rise no matter what the market. But when the market goes into one of those natural resource strong phases, we'll see, material increases in value for people. And then along the way, of course, the real thing that makes the difference is hitting those major metal discoveries. And we've got some real stuff happening. Look at Malopo, that nickel sulfide mineralization, fabulous outcome from the first few holes. And we're still doing more work on that, of course. Look at what's happening across the portfolio with our business. And I think we offer a reasonably enticing mix of real hard work, fundamental value, speculative upside, possibility of major metal discovery, and real value generation through our spin-out model.
Okay. Well, Paul Johnson there, the CEO of Power Metal Resources. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.